it to the Facebook Live in a second. I'm just going to be checking on our page.
Okay, that's good. Perfect.
All right. Yeah, we are live. So you see my camera is not being really helpful.
Yeah, now so really nice to see you today.
Yes, I will try to do my best. Okay, so we are going live on Facebook on our first Teacher Experts Tip session with a colleague and a person that I really admire a lot because I've met Nestor, when you guys were doing a lot of nice videos with Matt. So I am a kind of like a fan of what you guys do. And I wanted to invite Nestor this time so he can tell us a little bit about himself and share with us some tips and strategies that he uses in his classes. And if you guys have any questions, we're definitely we're happy to read your questions that you may have. So I'll be checking our Facebook chat. So Nestor, the stage is all yours.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lorena. Thank you for having me today. I think this is a perfect space. Usually we've been doing a lot of things for many years, but the beauty of doing things is to be able to share it with people, And
that's true.
Your invitation was very clear, very precise about the topic. It's okay, what are your tips and what are the tips that we can share with our colleagues that are in charge of course, teaching people, teaching topics. But the thing is about the education, how do we improve education via different ways or using different tools. I'm an industrial engineer. I have I would say, an extensive experience as an entrepreneur in different areas, but mainly in the technology area. I've been an owner of a software company for 15 years before I sold the company. But I think the teaching thing is in my veins. It's something that is in my blood. I've been a university professor over the last 20 years, actually. I have the opportunity to become a professor of information systems when I was 26. So now you can do the numbers and tell how old I am. But the thing is how do we not just teach, but how do we share the knowledge in our classroom? It doesn't matter if our classroom is an online system or is a present system, or maybe it's a hybrid model. Usually it's the same thing, and we as professors, every single day we are thinking, hey, how do I improve not just my performance? No, how do I improve the way our students are learning? And this is a permanent challenge. I think this is this is not the end word of anything. It's just my personal experience and how do I try really hard to transfer the knowledge that I've been accumulating over the last years. Of course, I have a couple of master's degree in business and strategy and marketing, and some diplomas as a professor, as a university professor. That is very important, because this is not something that you will learn forever. This is a never-ending process. Okay, first thing that I would like to share with you, it's the things that I use in my class. Usually, the way I try my classes is via active learning activities. And what are the active learning activities? So it's those type of activities where people that sometimes feel insecure about the knowledge or about the way they understand the knowledge, they share it with each other, not just with the professor. Because usually when you are trying to share your knowledge with the professor, you feel evaluated, Yeah, every time you are talking with the professor,
yes.
things that, oh my God,
You feel on the spot.
yeah, I even go to my grades, you know, that's the thing. But I try to create different activities, like for example, group discussions. Of course, I set topic, give a framework, a general framework of the themes, and I give to the students, say, now is your time. Of course, you have to do your assignment, go to your own research, and then you share the information with your colleagues. The way, of course, discussions, panels, seminars, even they can create videos where they speak to each other. And sometimes I use WhatsApp or different tools. I think is the active learning process is sharing what you think you learned, you know, because sometimes I think that I learned something, but I might be wrong, or maybe I misunderstood the topic. So that's why it's very important to do this type of activities of active learning methods. You know, the other thing that I use
I think
technology.
it's great. Yes.
Really?
Sorry, before you continue to your next tip, I wanted to comment on it because something you said is pretty, something that we sometimes don't do is check and make sure that our students are like, coming or advancing or understanding the lesson as we planned. And if we don't check, and if there is no active learning involved, it is hard to gauge whether our students understand the topics or not. And it's happening a lot. So I like the idea of the active learning activities and how you're using visuals for us to illustrate and for us to remember each strategy.
Yeah, for example, one thing that is very common of course, for us, for professors, is we are very used to the peer review. Yeah, of course, if you are writing papers, if you are on the research side of the academics, peer review is something that is very common. And maybe if you are not an academic and you are not on the teaching full time, you will be reviewed by your peers at work. And it's the same thing. So it's being reviewed or checked by your peers at the classroom, not just by the professor. I think that is something that is very important, and it's easier. I think it's easier, makes life easier for students, and of course, it creates a better environment. Of course, it's based on my experience. I won't say that it applies 100% of the time, but based on my experience, it is something that I love to use. Yes. Secondly, I'm a geek. I really love to use technology. But when I'm saying technology, I'm not talking just about computer. You know, it's not just software. It's not just mobile phones. It's not just devices. It's the tools that might help you to make things faster and with a better performance. You know, that's why in this picture, this is you're using a mechanic tool here, electronic tool here, and here a computer. It's a different set of tools. For example, when we are doing experiments, because I teach at the engineering school, I have two courses over the last, 15 years. I've been trying to teach, I would say, the same courses. These management of information systems and principles of marketing. And when I'm saying technology and you're working on marketing, you have technology like surveys, and you have got the paper survey. You have a survey that you will take on a mobile device. You have surveys that you will take on a computer. But of course, you have rooms when you have focus groups. And in those focus groups, you have mics, you have cameras, you have to be able to view, take notes. How do you take notes in a better way to understand the things that are happening based on some previous knowledge? And that's how do I love to involve technology at the classroom. And as I said before, it doesn't matter if the classroom is present or maybe the classroom is in a hybrid model. Even in hybrid model, I remember the pandemic. I was making my students to use technology like light bulbs, with some cables, and how, of course, with a low risk environment. But this is some things that we should be able to teach other students, because that thing is not just the knowledge that you have and the way you understand the topic, but you are, it's like the reinforcement, of the topic with the hands-on experience. And this is something that I really love. And sometimes it's an individual mode. Sometimes it's a group work with some people. I don't know. They have different sets of responsibilities on a large project. But that's how I think we need to be able to use technology. The number three.
Before you move on there, I love the sharing of the technology, because I'm also a techie fan. But also I've noticed through teaching that our new generations of students are like tech savvy, or they're experts in technology, especially, in the use of tablets, phones, and computers. So I think why you mentioned technology is a very important way to kind of like raise awareness of how we have to transform our teaching practice by incorporating technology, because it's there. If we don't use it to our benefit and to engage our students, we'll be losing them. I think our new generation of students have a shorter attention span, and so we need to engage them even more and get their attention and hold it. And if we just don't think about technology as a great resource, I think it's something that we won't be able to face. I mean, you're talking about university level, right, Nestor? But I see, I mean, even adults who are supposed to have a longer attention span, I think we are now demanding a different way to learn in general. So incorporating strategies and technological devices is a must.
Yeah, but let me give you some specific examples, because sometimes you're talking about the topic, but okay, one specific example. And one example that I will give you is at university level, and the other example is at high school level. University level, I have two classes. As I said, management of information systems and principle of marketing. Management of information systems, I teach analytics. And the way I teach analytics is they learn how to use tools like Tableau, Google Data Studio, and Power BI for data analytics. The group of marketing, they have a specific assignment that is a 12-week assignment. They have to create a new company, and the set of tools and the online tools, I would say social media, basically, the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter, the TikTok, the Snapchat, the LinkedIn page, and they have to do some specific activities, like posting like 5 posts every single day the first week, 10 posts the second week, and so on until the week 12. At the end of the week 12, they are posting like 120 posts, as part of the class. And you say, oh my God, 120 posts. How do I include technology? I teach them how to use artificial intelligence tools to be able to create 120 different elements for the web, for the media. The class of management of information system, they are doing all the data analytics of those networks, and the grades of the people taking the marketing class depends on the analytics that the people on the management of information systems are doing, and the grades of the group of marketing information systems depends on the quality of the posting that the group of marketing is doing, and how they process all this information. They need to learn at a different level artificial intelligence tools to be able to collect the data from the social media. because it's not that you go to Instagram and you click on download the
Yes.
data, because this data actually pretty much is useless. This you cannot
Yes.
use this data to do analytics. So basically, they learn artificial intelligence, and while we are learning, of course, how to I don't know, while we learn the specifics of each of the classes. The other example is at a high school level. ChatGPT over the last month. Oh my God, everybody's
It's been a lot of talk about chat.
yeah,
Yes.
we are all crazy about ChatGPT. And I have a partner, he's a college professor. He's just a high school teacher, and I'm helping this guy to include the uses of ChatGPT in his classroom, uh, actually teaching his students to use ChatGPT to solve the common issues and the common research assignments that we used to do before ChatGPT over the span of 2 hours. And I say, hey, if you teach your students to do some research and some writing in 5 minutes, what do you do with the next 150 minutes? That's the challenge. And the challenge now is, hey, now you have this writing. Now, with the writing that you have, that I know that you created on ChatGPT, you have to create 10 posts for your Instagram account. And you have to create 2 videos or 2 short videos for your YouTube channel, for your personal YouTube channel. And on top of that, you have to create 5 graphics that you will share on your Facebook account with your partners. That's the way you use technology.
Yes.
Not
That's awesome.
It's not demonizing the ChatGPT. It's how do you use the technology in the process of it?
I think even the phone sometimes in schools or in education is seen as like a demon by itself. And sometimes there are, parents who don't want their kids to use the phone in class or at school. But if we make great use of it and we take advantage of the great resources that technology can provide us, I think education will, definitely hit a different level, and the transformation of the way we think and how we behave right now is so different 20 years ago, so adapting our teaching styles and our expectations is a great way to transition this new era, of technology.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely it is. And this is one that you said a couple minutes ago, is the feedback. It's not just that you provide the tools and you provide the exercises. It's very important to provide the feedback. I don't know how big is your classroom. I don't know how many students you have, but it's very important at least to be able to have a meeting on one-on-one with each student at least once a month. Because getting this sense of a safe environment where students can express freely with you in private, maybe, or on specific teach hours or consulting hours is super important, because that way is the student not just be able to learn, to ensure that he is learning, but you as a professor, you can learn if the exercises or the tools that you are using are valid, or at some point it loses credibility between your students, because it's not just the feedback for them. The important thing here as a professor is the feedback for you, because you have the responsibility to design the activities, to change processes in your class. So that, I think, is a thing that you have. This is a must. This is not a might. This is a must for your class. The thing, the visual aids. Visual aids. Of course, that's very important. As the way our students are learning today is, of course, it's not just the movie. It's, of course, shorts on YouTube. It's presentations. It's to create things I think in the process of creating things, students are reinforcing the concepts. I think even sometimes I'm surprised most of the time by students because a lot of times they are creating things that are not on the books. And I say, hey, how do you get into this? And they say, hey,
Yes.
because Professor Santos, the way I'm learning this and the way we found this problem and we found this issue. And we think that we need to add this another topic that is not on the text that you provided. And I think that's perfect. But how do you, being able to create visuals and not just consuming visual, that's an important thing for the class.
That's a great tip.
Collaboration, and what is collaboration? I gave you a previous example. The collaboration is one person is responsible for a set of activities, but this set of activities are part of a larger plan. That's the way I do collaboration. Of course, you have to be careful when you're designing the assignment, and you have to be sure that each piece of the puzzle at the end will be able to fit, with each other.
Great tip.
That's the way collaboration. Collaboration is not just creating a pencil between 5 people. It's creating a full framework where you have the responsibility of this part and the other part and the other part. And the only way that the end result actually works is that every single piece of the puzzle have to work. That's the way I create the assignments for my classes. And I'll share you the last one. I think that this is a very important one, and this was the reason that we met actually a couple of years ago. Is the curiosity. Taking the curiosity into your classes, it's super important because curiosity has no boundaries. When we are doing and we are using the traditional scientific method, we have an hypothesis and we go to validation and we go to experimentation and we run the numbers and we say, that hypothesis was true or false. That's the traditional thing. But taking the curiosity into your classes and being able to include questions, the what if questions. Hey, professor, what if this social media thing will end in 1 year from now? How do we share our thoughts? How do we people will communicate to each other? And I say, hey, it's not on me, it's on you. What do you think? What are the different options? What if someday we wake up and we have no internet? We have no internet at all. What if these concepts actually change forever in 2 years, in 6 months from now? And making people, of course, create spaces or scenarios that actually maybe some of those are not feasible. Actually, it doesn't matter because feasibility, how feasible a project is not on you. It depends on many, many, many things from science, from technology, from engineering. There's many things. That the good thing is how do you make your brain work not just out of the box. Maybe you can think, hey, what if the box is everything? What if the box is unlimited? What if the box is the space? What if being in the box is the right thing? Because usually we tend to use assessments that are very common to use, but maybe those are wrong, but maybe those don't apply in specific situations. And this is something that I love to take to my classrooms. And what's the beauty of behind this? That if you want to exercise your curiosity on a good way, you have to learn a lot of things. Because it's not about, hey, this is a simple question. If you want to make good questions, if you want to be curious on a deep level, you have to study. And the more you study, the more you learn, the more curious that you will be. And this is something that I've been using in my classroom for years, and this is something that I always share with with my peers. There's something that you should be able to understand, and if you don't understand, there are I don't know, now we have more information than I would say than 10 years ago about curiosity.
Yes, that's true. Curiosity-based learning is great. I love that because what Nestor just said is, I think, another challenge that we have in education, because it's like teaching students one thing, but what about, we normally talk a lot about critical thinking and all this, but it's up to a certain level, because curiosity is not only, asking students questions, but teaching students to ask themselves questions that we haven't thought about, different possibilities, and your mind can take you to so many different places, or asking students to solve a problem with different tools and seeing how they can solve the same situation in a different way by asking themselves those what if questions. I think it's a great way to exercise curiosity-based learning. And I'm glad that you brought it up and you mentioned it in today's session, because so many different approaches that are like needed to be included in our classrooms. And of course, if we are committed teachers that want to transform the education and the classes that we have at this moment, I think it's a great way to start. you know so is there anything else that you would like to share? Any other thoughts or any other ideas that were left?
Lorena, I think those are my 5 cents on the topic.
Awesome.
The thing that I prepared for this meeting. And that, of course, if you have questions, maybe somebody have some question in the streaming, I'll be more than happy to try to answer the question.
I have one question, for myself, but I'm sure it's another question that also might come up. How do you see the educational challenges being solved within the next 2 years? What do you think is gonna happen? Are we going to be thrown, let's say, or blown away by more strategies, more challenges? Are we facing a really hard one right now with this
Okay, do you hear me? Because I think I have some issues trying to hear you.
Hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
I would say not just in the next 2 years, I would say in the next 6 months, this year. One thing that actually is changing really fast is the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence are changing many, many things on our daily life. The thing is that we are not aware of what things and how artificial intelligence actually is changing our lives. Just to give you an example, when you are using a tool like ChatGPT, it's a natural conversation. I'm sure most of you have been using ChatGPT, and the most you use the tool, you will see that, oh my God, this is like chatting to a friend. But just thinking a very simple thing. This is text. And if you move and you take this text into voice, basically that means that you don't have to type anymore. And you have an assistant. And I'm not talking about Siri, Alexa, or Google. I'm talking just about your phone, any type of phone that you have. And you have now an assistant. And you do not have to take your phone out of your pocket to say something like, hey, I would love to know what are the side effects of this specific drug, and you just listen, and you are having this conversation like a call,
a regular conversation. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, but actually this is something that would happen in the next 6 months. I'm sure, maybe not on the masses, but some companies will have this type of tools with some things like, hey, every other Friday, call our vendors and asks for the pricing. And if the pricing is good enough to make a profit, just put the order. And you will get you
Wow.
will have a phone call and they say, hey, Lorena, this is the artificial intelligence buying expert from Nestor's company, and we would like to double check the pricing for today. What are the prices for today for, I don't know, for A, B, and C references?
Wow.
And we say, hey, it's the same prices. Okay, thank you, Lorena. I would like to put an order of 100 units for each one. Thank you. You have a beautiful day. And this is the artificial intelligence. And it's actually, it's very simple. This is not that complicated.
Yes.
And just think in the next thing. You're calling your phone operator, you are calling your TV company, you are calling your high school, and maybe if you are a father, of course, we are professors, we deal not just with students. We have to, sometimes we have to deal with the parents. The parents call, hey, professor, I would like to know what are the grades of my son. Now, for us, it's like, hey, now you have the user and the password, and you go to the website of the high school.
And you access the score there.
Access, and you click here and there. That's okay. For some people, it's very complicated. But if you say, you have this assistant in your phone, okay, you have this assistant in your phone, and you have the assistant, you say, hey, I would like to know that this week my son's grades, how well he behaved at high school. And this system goes to the high school software and go do the research, and he talks to you. He say, hey, Nestor, I have good news and bad news. Something that artificial intelligence actually will change. And just
wow.
The answer here to be very precise. Maybe you are using apps like when you are trying to order some food. But the thing is that if you use your phone, you are actually watching this small screen. You have to take your glasses on and actually do your research. And hey, I like this picture. Yeah, most of the time these pictures are fake, because when you are
that's true.
It's not that the picture that you have on the delivery guy with the delivery boy. But if you say, hey, I want to eat pizza today, what type of pizza? I want a pepperoni one. Okay, please look for some promotions. I don't have a lot of cash today. Okay, Nestor, we have 3 options. One is $10, the other 12. I have this one that is maybe it's 14, but it has a better review. We would like to put that.
Wow. That's amazing.
This is something that will change this year, not in 2 years. And how in our classes actually will be effective. You think when you are going to a database of knowledge like ProQuest or all these databases that we are using as professors, and our students have the ability to ask, to have a conversation, to have a natural conversation with the tool. I have good news. Pretty cool. I have bad news. The good news is that you will be able to consume a lot of more knowledge in your classes, but you will have
less time,
more time to prepare the classes because it will be hard, and not in 2 years. I would say next semester.
That's awesome. That's crazy though. But I think it's a great way to think about how we prepare our students for the real challenges of life, not just how we teach the list of items we have on the curriculum, but how we prepare them to be equipped with all the tools they need to face, the new marketplace, the new, challenges, educational challenges that they're going to encounter when they leave the class. And we have to reflect those in our classrooms, I think. So that was great. I blew my mind, Nestor. I enjoyed talking to you. And I'm sure if people are not watching it right now, when they watch the replay, they'll be able to, get a lot of out of this teacher expert tip section that we got every month, that we're going to have every month. So thank you so much, Nestor. For those who are not familiar with this great expert, Nestor Santos, he's from Colombia, and is what time is it? At 4, right? What time is it in Colombia right now? 3:30. All right. Okay. So thank you, Nestor, for sharing all your knowledge and expertise with us. And I think I'm sure every educator that watches this live Facebook is going to be like, wow, and blown away by different strategies that you share today with us. And I have Cecilia Chocobar. She's reacting to our session. So thank you so much for your expertise. And what is your email address or your LinkedIn or your Facebook, Nestor? So anybody who would like to contact you can
I have
do
a
it.
page, actually. My webpage is nestorsantos.com. I'm sure below this video, we will put some tags on the video. The webpage is nestorsantos.com. And in my webpage, you will find everything. You will find my LinkedIn account, my Instagram, TikTok, link,
Everything.
even my personal WhatsApp is on my webpage. So, and it's for real.
Awesome.
It's not an artificial intelligence bot.
It's not a chat bot. Awesome. Awesome, Nestor. Thank you so much for joining us. And I really admire the passion and the dedication that you put in everything you do. So thank you for delighting us and honoring us with your presence today. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.